Hey everybody, welcome to my tutorial on what is everybody doing in the jam and in a band. And I don't know that I know the answer to the question, what is everybody doing? But I'm hoping to answer the question, what should everybody be doing in the band or the jam? And so one of the things that I think is really intimidating for people is when they get into a jam setting. And I'm going to start with jam stuff because I feel like for a lot of you, that's going to be more relevant. And then we can talk about the differences between what it means to be in a jam and then maybe transitioning into, okay, band life. Now, how is that going to be a little bit different? Once you've been in a few jams and you meet some cool people and you're like, we should start a band. And then you can refer back to this video as well to talk about what to expect in that situation. But one of the things that I think is so intimidating for people is literally, what do I do? I can find a jam. I can, make some snacks to bring. I can do all of that stuff. And I know some fiddle tunes and all of that kind of thing. But a bluegrass jam seems like such a sort of an intimidating entity. And so I want to demystify that for you. And so we're going to start with the role of each instrument. And then we're going to talk about, as everyone's playing together, what to expect and what to look for and that kind of thing. So first we're going to start on the low end. We're going to start with the bass player. And the bass player, we like to refer to as not pictured, because they never get their name in the caption of the photo because they're always behind the banjo player. You know how it is. But the bass player is holding down that 1 and 3 beat of the song, and they are playing. So if the song is, they're going boom, 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 right? So that's their job. And the bass player job is, I think all the jobs are hard, but I think the bass player job is hard because nobody thinks it's hard. And I think that's, they are definitely an unsung hero of a jam. And it's important to show respect to everybody and everybody's role in the jam, because even though the bass player doesn't seem like they're, quote, doing very much, in the jam, they're actually doing a lot. Number one, you'll notice if they bail or if they drop a note or whatever, and nobody really notices if they're just kind of carrying on, but if you lose a few beats or whatever. So it's a tricky thing, but they've got to play all the way from start to finish. And so at the beginning of the song, somebody plays some pickup notes or maybe counts something off, 1, 2, 3, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 and they come right in and they play all the way through. Bass players, as a general rule, and this is by no means an always or never situation, but as a general rule, they don't take a lot of solos. Some bass players might be perfectly comfortable with it, playing melody, and maybe they've got some background in, playing melodies in some other way. Maybe they were classically trained, and so they're super comfortable with that kind of thing. And if you notice that a bass player seems to be fine with it or kind of wants to do something, offer your bass player a solo for sure. And when the bass player takes a solo, what everybody does is sort of drops back and just plays a little bit of a quiet thing on the downbeat. So let's say, it's like, and the bass player, and so the bass player goes, bum ba da 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 dum ba ba da ba da da dum ba da 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 da, and you just kind of hit those downbeats kind of quietly and let them shine. So that's kind of the bass player role. And the other thing that's really important is if they need help getting their bass to their car, you should offer, because have you seen that thing? It's huge. I cannot imagine. I get to carry this around. I've got backpack straps, for goodness sake. Really. So, show your bass player some love. So the bass player's job is just to play along with the chord changes on those 1 and 3 beats and just hold it down, keep it going. So then we're going to move to the mandolin player. And I use the mandolin player second because the mandolin player plays on the opposite beats of the bass player when it comes to rhythm. Now, we'll talk about solos in a second, but the mandolin player is doing, if the bass player is doing bum, 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 the mandolin player is going jump, chop, 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 like that, and playing on those backbeats. And they're trying to keep that percussive kind of, they're sort of the snare drum of the band, right? Also, the mandolin player will definitely take solos, or a solo in a song, and they'll play the melody like we would do. And occasionally the mandolin player will play some fills as well. Depends on your mandolin player. You kind of got to read the room and figure out if you've got a mandolin player who's real comfortable playing fills or not. But that's certainly something that you would expect the mandolin player to do on occasion, if not once per song, maybe a verse or a chorus or whatever. Then we're going to go to the guitar player, and the guitar player is also playing chords, playing those same chord changes.